as you know, Mahogany Spice, and we'd love to welcome you back to our channel if you are visiting again, and we'd also like to welcome you if you are new. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and also don't forget to hit the notification button at the right or the left at the bottom of under the subscribe button, so that you can get a notification every time that we post a video. Okay, so now we're gonna get into our topic right away. We hope that you guys are ready. So the topic is
angry black woman. So today is most likely like a story of our experience in an environment that dealt with discrimination, prejudice, racial, all these things. So it's like story time, and we're going to give you guys a story and just express our feelings of the event that occurred in our life.
Yes. So my story is relating to me being upset for a coworker. So I had a coworker at the time, and she was of a Filipino background, and she didn't really speak very good English, but she was an excellent home attendant. She was very good. She, made sure no one was asked what needed to be done or what was going on, and underneath, the boss was upset. She was annoyed because she didn't understand why this lady was always asking her questions, already knowing, that the woman didn't really speak much English, and they kind of always were annoyed by her a lot. So sometimes they wouldn't answer her, sometimes maybe they might cut off her days and tell her to come in for 2 days instead of like her full 3 or something like that, or ask her what is she eating or something like that. And she was so humble that she never really said much, because her English wasn't up to par. She didn't really speak up for herself, so she kind of just took the discrimination and she kind of just swallowed it and just said, I know. She would always come to me and say, I know that they don't like me. I know that they're being, they're being very discriminative towards me. And I understand that, but because my English is not up to par, there's technically, nothing I can do. And because of my background and who I grew up with and my family and the type of culture I have, I'm not an angry person. So I'm just going to stay humble and, just swallow the pill and keep it pushing. And me, as a black female, even though I wasn't Filipino, I'm still considered a minority, just like them. And it made me upset as a black female, because this female couldn't speak up for herself. Like, why are these people treating this woman that is, taking a lot from you guys like this, and, actually taking care of your family member or whatever the case may be, taking her for granted as well, and still discriminating her while she's, still trying to learn, and it's not like she doesn't want to learn, but she was trying to, and they shut her down a lot. And that made me angry as a female, as a black female, because this female in general, even if she wasn't black, she couldn't speak for herself.
From my experience, it was very personal. I was in sophomore in college, and I played lacrosse. A night, it was like a snowstorm. No, it was a night. It was like very cold. It was February. It was a night that before my first game, and a fight broke out between my roommate and one of my teammates. And I was in the room with one of my friends, and I heard whoa, 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 whoa. So I, left the room, and I was trying to separate the fight, basically. So my teammate kicked me in my stomach, and I kicked her back, and I told her to stop. So, but I was trying to break the fight, and my roommate was at the door, and my teammate was in front of me, and eventually the RAs came, and they called campus safety and all those things, and they they questioned us, and they basically told us that, you know, we gotta go off site, we gotta go off campus, we can't be here and stuff like that. So, you know, we got in trouble, and that night we ended up sleeping in the car.
Wow.
Yes, we ended up sleeping in the car, and the girls that was in the altercation, I was with my roommate, and the other girls who was in the fight, they went to the hospital saying that, you know, she had a concussion, she was being all those stuff. So it was snowing and our game got canceled. So I actually emailed my coach, and I was like speaking to him. So, you know, I called my mom and I told her what was happening and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that, you know, I tried to break the fight, you know, whatever. So it got really big in the school, and it got to the point where we had to go in front of a board, the school board, and where I couldn't even play sports. So I worked at the registrar, and I was talking to I could say like two of my mothers on campus, and like I have a really close relationship with them, and I was explaining to them what was going on, and they were like, I wasn't tearing up, I wasn't nervous, I was upset because it was stated that I ripped out the girl's hair, I punched her in her lip, she was bleeding, and all those type of things. So I was saying that's not true. I had to write, I didn't have to write anything then. No, yeah, so we had to stay away from each other and stuff like that. So during the hearing, before I was talking to mommy, and my mom started crying. So I was like, oh man, like, you know, I felt like, you know, I embarrassed my mother, like I put her down and all this type of stuff. So I was like, oh my god, like this is so embarrassing. So we had to like when we had to go in the board, sit in front of the board, there was reading out the statements. Okay. And in the statement, it was like, they always had beef with us before, not beef, but like problems. Yeah. There was always bullying us, and was afraid of us, and I was laughing because I was like, I am not a type of person, like I've always been nice. And it was, I think one of the girls was white, and the other girl was like Colombian. She was like, she had like another, like, she was like Spanish or something. And I was like, I cannot believe they're saying all these things right now. Like, I was honestly upset. So after speaking to my mom, and I went there to tell them my part of like what happened, I started crying. Yeah. So, you know, I was like, it was hard to express my feelings because I was crying because like I just got the phone with my mom. And after all of that, you know, they listened to me and all those things, and all of a sudden what happened, and I was like, I'm not the type of person to like, you know, go around fighting people, like that's just not me. And I was honestly trying to break up the fight. And I was like, during that time, like when stuff was going on, you know, I was speaking to the dean, and you know, he was like talking to us, and he was like, oh, this is what's going on, and all those things. Come to find out, after the board, they give us our like what's gonna happen and stuff like that. And basically they said, which I was like, what they said made me really think really hard on how black people are just how we're discriminated against, and you know how reviewed. And so basically they said that I have anger issues, yes, and that I have to go to counseling, and if I don't go to counseling, I will get kicked out of school. They said something else. Basically they said that I was like the main, like I was like the main person in the fight, because the girls, they described like what happened. It was like false, and they said that I was the one, like the main one in it. And I was like, I was just trying to separate the fight. And my intentions were to, you know, okay, right, we gotta get him tomorrow, you're not getting in trouble. Okay, you're my roommate, we're not getting in trouble. And it was like, it came to where I was the main person who basically started everything. So I was like, what the hell? I was like, so for me to express myself and cry in front of you guys, you guys took it as me being an angry angry black woman and who had anger problems and who, you know, need therapy, who need counseling because we have issues. Yeah. And the girl was able to play the sport. She barely got in trouble. All she had to do was she wasn't allowed to come back into my dorm, and we wasn't allowed to talk to each other. We were supposed to stay feet away from her. My other roommate, she was able to play her sport, but I couldn't play lacrosse. I had to go to counseling. I had to what else I had to do? I had to do something else, and I was like really tearing up. And I was like, damn, that's messed up. Yeah, of course. So after, you know, the athletic director, she was telling me how, you know, you'll play, you're suspended for this and time. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll be able to play, you know, I'm waiting, I'm doing good, like my dumb ass, you know. So she told me I could go to practice. Came to the point where I was able to go to practice, and when the girl saw me, she ran. And it was so funny. She told the coach, it was assistant coach, and my mate, the head coach, me and him was really close, and he was like telling me, he was like, you know, I feel like it's dumb because they had pictures of her hair coming out, and it was like, if I pulled out her hair, you would see hair on the floor. If and when she's in the picture, you could tell that she washed her hair. They set everything up. Yeah, in the picture that she washed her hair. Yeah. So my coach was like, he was white. He's white. And he's like, obviously, if you wash your hair is gonna come out. Yeah, of course. So they basically framed that. Yeah. And I really couldn't get him involved because, you know, that was our coach. Yeah. And the athletic director called me in, and she was like, well, you know, the girl is not comfortable with you being on the team. She's not ready yet. Something like she's not ready yet. Wow. I was like, wait, what? And mind you, I went to basically an all-white school, like with white people. And I was like, what the hell? So in my mind, I'm thinking like, wait, what the hell is going on? I was like, you know, she was a part of that fight. Yeah. I was trying to break up the fight, and I got into it. So it was like, I felt like it had like this stigma on us black girls that, you know, we're known for fighting. We're known for getting out of character. So I was like, when I said something, I said, she and my roommate got into it, and I tried to separate. She was like, oh, you don't really know what happened, so you really can't say anything. I said, you wasn't there. You don't know what happened. You can't say anything. Yeah. So, and I wrote her, when I left, before I left, she said, whatever we discussed, it should not leave the room. That's exactly what she told me. And I said, are you serious? So I wrote a letter. I wrote a paper and I sent it to the registrar, which is my mother on campus. I sent it to her. I sent it to my coach. I sent it to my parents. And I was like, with all this thing that went on, I was thinking, I was like, Alina, how do you really feel? Like, how do you really feel about this? Like, I was so angry. I hated, to that point where I hated. I was in a phase where I did not want to be friends with no white person. Like, none. No one. But I loved my mothers on campus because they're white. Yeah. And I had a special bond with them. But with that situation, I felt like, dang, like, yeah, you're kind of stuck. Like, dang, like, I never experienced, that's like my first time experience, and I was like, yo, like, what the hell? Did it just really happen? I couldn't play sports. Yeah. I had to go to counseling. If I didn't, I get kicked out of school. If I get into a fight, I get kicked out of school. And my intention was to stop the fight between my teammate and my roommate. Yeah. And I was like, tomorrow I did not want to talk to nobody. And that's how I started like drifting away from socializing with people, because I did not want to get in a situation where I get kicked out of school. And I just feel like now looking at how, like, you know, looking at The View with Whoopi and stuff like that, and how she expressed her opinions is like why she's saying this, you know, like, you know, why she still have a job, she's not allowed, but perceived as an angry black woman. Yeah. But, you know, white people, they're allowed to express themselves, and once they state their opinions, it's either that, you know, it's just how she feels, or, you know, she's probably under a lot of stress, or, you know, like, they don't say anything negative about them. But once we do that, it's like they bash us so hard. And that's how I was feeling at the moment. Like, what the hell? That's what's going through my head. Like, what the hell? Like, I was upset, I was angry, and I made an appeal, and they literally denied it. And the girl, the Spanish one who wrote all those things about me, like bullying and stuff like that, she was actually my sweet me. Yeah, and what got me so upset, it was like, it got me upset. It was like, she will come and speak to me. Yeah. That's how crazy it was. And if I do anything, I would get in trouble. But I remember after the semester in the summertime, I was in behavioral statistics. Yeah. And the same girl who I supposedly pulled out her hair and everything was like, oh, Alina, can you do this over? Oh, Alina. I'm like, in my head, I like literally had my hand on the chalkboard. I was like this. It's really calling my name right now. Yeah. Like, I was in a phase like where I hated white girls. Like, I did not like, because the directors, the principal, everybody was white, and I was the only black female who they viewed as had anger issues, and I needed counseling because I was crying, and the reason I was crying because I really embarrassed my mother. Yeah, that's what got me so emotional. Yeah.
And I think that of course it's very hurtful when that time comes, because it's like, how do you really deal with that? And especially no matter how old you are, it's something that you know it's out there. You know the stigmas are out there, you know the discrimination is out there, but then when it hits you and it hits home and it's something so unexpected, like, you know, places where you feel safe, like school, like work, and you're getting these discriminations, you're getting hit with that type of discrimination or those type of discriminations, it hurts, because it's like, how do you really kind of move on in society properly and productively without always kind of having that thought in the back of your head, like, I'm scared to kind of even not necessarily move, but it's kind of like, you know, in general, be who I am, because I'm viewed as this person in society. Like, and it's really it's another situation that happened to me, and this was when I first started as a home attendant. I was fairly young. I was really started when a lot of people were saying, oh, you're too young to really be doing this, like, this is an old people job. But I grew to, I always kind of cling to older people. So I loved being a home attendant. But this agency, when I started with them, they were good, but I should say maybe their client base, their client base was, and most of their patients they had a lot of low income patients. So they would be sending you to, or they would send me rather, because I was younger at the time, I was 18, they would send me to places that no other aide that was probably older than me would ever want to go to. So they knew that, and they knew, okay, maybe if we send her to this area, she's black, so, you know, she's not going to be offended, she's not going to be really scared or certain things like that. But if they was to call her, like, maybe a Spanish lady, she's like, no, I'm not going over there, and they won't really antagonize her about going. But me, as the young black female, they would be like, oh, what do you mean you're not going today? You have to go, you have to take this case. And it was kind of like, do I really have to? And I kind of felt like I did, because I didn't know at the time. I was still young, and it was hurtful too when they put me in situations where I would end up they would send me to, like, for instance, like a project, and that project, one time I almost got raped, and I literally just got into the case. It was a 12-hour case, and I just walked into the door, and as soon as I turn around, the guy is like, oh, like, take off your clothes. And I'm like, I was thinking, like, bro, I just came to work, like, this is only 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, what is going to, I have to stay here until 9 at night. So I'm thinking, what's going to happen when I come home from when I'm leaving work? Where's this guy going to be? This is like, you know, it's the project, it's really dark over here. Nobody really hangs around here because they know people are probably going to attack them at a certain time at night. So it was scary for me. And when I brought it to the agency's attention, like at the time, if it wasn't for my dad, he probably wouldn't have stayed, and he picked me up at that time that night. But when I brought it to the attention of the agency, they just told me, you need to be careful sometimes. But you sent me to the case.
Yeah.
You guys put me in that position knowing my age. You guys still hired me. So at the same token, even though I was just a co-worker, not a co-worker, an employee, you guys are still supposed to look out for my well-being regardless, no matter my skin color, no matter of my age. And they did discriminate me upon that. And when it was time for me to quit, they were kind of just like, okay. Because it's like they knew they were losing a good aide. But at the same token, they didn't really care because they're like, there's so many other low-income people out there who are looking for jobs just like you. And we could give it to them like that. So it was kind of like, you don't really matter you don't really matter to society right now, because it's like another day, another dollar for our business.
And it sucks that us young people that we go through, I feel like it's good that we go through these experiences because we learn a lot. And never like say that you regret when you go through things in life, because it's always a mistake that guides you through your future, and you know what needs to be done. You learn from your mistakes. And race and racism and discrimination and all those things, like we have to start teaching our young kids, because it happens and it's real, it's out there, and we just have to, now I'm not gonna say prepare them, but let them be aware of it, because it will stay with you forever. Like I love my family who are in the white race. Like, you know, I have friends who are white and I have a close bond with them. However, like, yet us black people, we go through experience and we wonder, like sometimes we wonder, and it is hard to share with them how we feel. Like you know how hard it was for me to go back in the office going through all of that, but yet I knew them as a person, not as their skin color. And I've grown with them from my freshman year to senior year, and it never, that experience I went through never changed my mindset about who they are and how they treated me as their own, like, you know. So it's good to have our kids trained, because they will experience something like that. They will go through something like that. So making them aware of it and teach them how to go about it is very important.
And not shutting them down when those questions come up. When kids ask, even if it's a question that you think may be harsh or maybe hard to answer at the time, like for instance, a question I heard recently, Daddy, why is it that the cops are always around our area? Like, you know, kids ask that, and you kind of have to mentally prepare yourself for it so that you can answer your child, so that they don't kind of feel like they're lost and then go elsewhere to ask for those questions, and then they either get hurt or they either get the wrong answer. And you want your child to be taught by you. You want your child to be a replica of you. They are a representation of you. You teach them, you let them know what it is, so that they don't feel like they have to go outside and get misinformation, or you know, so they don't feel confused, or let them know and be comfortable talking to them without it feeling like, you know, you're kind of pressuring them about this topic, like, you have to go outside, and kind of like don't make them feel like, you know, you have to go outside and hate white people. Don't do that. Still kind of encourage them to, in a way, accept people and understand, and still learn that, you know, we're kind of just all in this world together. You kind of just have to work together, but don't teach them to be as evil and hateful as others. And it's like, it's the best thing we can honestly do for the generation coming after us, because like we're in our 20s, and it's just to be honest with them and literally wake them up, because I know there's a lot of distractions out there in the world. There's a lot, and having them being woke before they get out there to the real world is so important. So I hope you guys enjoy this discussion, and don't forget to subscribe. Let us know how you feel. State your opinions in our comment below, and thank you for listening to Mahogany Spice.
Bye.